Hello, everybody. Hope you're all awake after what was a pretty drab draw, of course, against Preston North End on Saturday. But another big game coming up for the Canaries on Wednesday night. And, of course, it is Sheffield Wednesday on Wednesday. So looking forward to it. And with that, delighted to be joined by James from the Wednesday Till I Die podcast. James, first and foremost, how are you today? And how are you feeling, I suppose, after a pretty good upturn of form for Sheffield Wednesday of late?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, Adam. Do really appreciate it. Yeah, it's if you'd have spoke to me 2 or 3 weeks ago, I would have probably been a lot different to what I am now. Yeah, you're right. Held the league leaders. Then we beat Blackburn at home. Then we beat Stoke away. That's only our third win this season. So yeah, the feeling, cautiously optimistic. There's still a mountain to climb, but I thought this season was going to be a very, very long season. But yeah, things have started to turn around a little bit, and things are looking in the right direction now.
Yeah, before we talk a little bit about this season and what's transpired, of course, last season ended in a trip to Wembley and a promotion back to the Championship after sort of some difficult seasons, I suppose, supporting Wednesday. What was that like, especially given the sort of turnaround you had against Peterborough and the sort of the fashion of it? How special was that?
Mate, it was an absolute roller coaster that season. At one point, we were already, looking that like we were going to win the league quite comfortably. Then we went to Forest Green Rovers, who had not won a game under Darren Ferguson. And then all of a sudden, the wheels fell off. We lost that game, which was totally out of character. And then we just proceeded to, the form just took a bit of a nosedive. We lost away at Barnsley, obviously our local rivals, in League One. And yeah, your nearest rivals, well, not name for obvious reasons, they just went from strength to strength. Plymouth did exactly the same. And then, yeah, it was weird because we were going to miss out on automatic promotion. It felt like the season had ended. We kind of almost forgot that there's still the playoffs to be had. But to finish on 96 points and finish third and not go up automatic, a bit of a joke, really. When you think about it, like one of the best seasons we've ever had, breaking records for number of clean sheets, like club records, left, right, and centre, longest unbeaten run in the history of the football club, and not even to get go up automatic. But I went to Peterborough away in the first leg, awful game, 4-0 down. It was 2-0 down in the first half, and then just carried on in the same vein of form. And then, yeah, we went to Hillsborough. I'd already got my ticket, of course, got my ticket as soon as it was announced. And then we were saying on the way down, we're going in hope rather than expectation. But I'd kind of played out the scenario in my head so many times. Early goal, 2-0 before half time, get a third, and they'll be worrying, and then we'll probably, we could go on and get a fourth. And that's kind of exactly what happened. We got the early penalty. It was 2-0 before half time. Hillsborough was absolutely rocking. There were people that didn't go as well. I know people that didn't turn up. I even know someone that left before 90 minutes as well, which he'll never live that one down. But no, I'm sure most people, most football fans, if they were around the TV, would have probably switched it on. The group chats would have probably going mad, saying, get Sky Sports football on, something's happening at Hillsborough. And no, to be there, it was absolutely fantastic. Just everyone had written us off. I think every Wednesday fan had written us off, but to come back from 4-0 down, absolutely amazing. And then again, you kind of almost forgot that, wait a minute, there's a game at Wembley to be had. That's not it. We've still got to do it all again. And yeah, to beat Barnsley with the last, I want to say a kick, but it wasn't. It was a header, last moment of the game. Oh, it was just absolutely brilliant. Like, I've been to Wembley once before when we got beat by Hull. That was obviously in the Championship playoffs. And it's not a nice feeling going all the way down there and coming away without the result that you're hoping for. But it's only League One, but you said it all you want. It's still a win at Wembley. And yeah, what happened after that, it almost feels like that never happened to some extent.
Yeah, I was going to touch on kind of the summer that then happened, the euphoria of promotion back to the Championship. Sheffield Wednesday have kind of been used to almost sort of crisis and difficulty and lack of stability at different points. And then the summer comes around and you've, of course, got Darren Moore ready to go in the Championship, and then it all changes. What was that kind of like in the summer, that sort of lack of kind of, I suppose, communication and stability at the club?
Mental. I don't think anyone believed it when it came out that Darren Moore had left the club. The club's very secretive in regards contract lengths and things like that. We don't really know how long or what sort of deal players or managers are on. It later transpired that he was on a rolling contract, really, or a 1-year contract. There's lots of things that conspiracies and Chansiri, the chairman's come out and said his piece. There's been a bit of back and forth between Darren Moore, which they said they weren't going to do. It's all been a bit of a farce, to be honest. I think from my perspective, is Darren Moore the best manager that we've ever had? No, he's not. I mean, with the records state that he did a very, very good job, and people say, well, that's in League One, and he expected to do that, but he did kind of galvanize the team and get us on the straight and narrow. He's the better managers out there than him. I think, well, the manager that we've got now, you could argue that he's a better fit, but I think most people would have accepted Darren Moore being the manager of Sheffield Wednesday this season and having a go. I think we would have probably finished mid-table-ish. I don't think we'd have been good enough to get the dizzy heights of the playoffs, but I think we'd have probably been a boring season and a comfortable season, and that's kind of what we wanted, really. Most fans weren't really bothered. We just wanted no drama, which we've had for many, many years. But lo and behold, the chairman has other ideas. There's been obviously a disagreement in terms of how much Darren Moore wanted to be paid and things like that. And yeah, we then appointed Cisco Munoz, which, the less said about him, the better, to be honest. He only lasted 10 games. We had Tony Pulis lasted 10 games as well. So it goes down as equal kind of shortest tenure at Sheffield Wednesday in the club. I never thought that would be matched or beaten or anything like that, but to do it so soon as well, it was just awful. Everything. I know you were talking to me about Wagner, how he kind of speaks to the fans and says all the right things, or certainly was when he first came in. Cisco's done the absolute opposite. He had his back up all the time, especially with the media. And of course, it's like the bear just keeps getting poked. If you get a reaction, the media is going to keep doing it. And I'm sure people have seen the when he's been speaking to the media after the game and some of the responses have been given, which are just, not what you want as a fan, and nobody really connected with him. And, when the performances aren't great either, it's not been good. And like I said, up until recently, it has been really, really tough to be a Sheffield Wednesday fan, to go from the highs that we were at, as was mentioned, after Wembley, which was in May, by the way. We're not even at Christmas yet. And I'm not talking about 3 years ago. It was literally less than 6 months ago that happened. To be where we are now, it's just incredible, the fallout that we've had.
Yeah, so you then kind of need the right appointments come in. You mentioned him already there, Danny Roll appointed, and feels like he's maybe got Sheffield Wednesday sort of playing football again, and maybe the fans a little bit back on side. How have the fans, I suppose, taken to him, and what sort of style of football has he brought to Hillsborough?
Oh, fans love him. I can't believe he's been here, 9 games, and the fans just have taken him like a duck to water, singing his name. And you know what, as well, that like I mentioned, we've only won 3 games all season, and 2 have come in the last two. So there was games at the start of his tenure where we weren't winning. But the difference was you could see signs of what he's trying to do. Pressing on the front foot, intensity. I think the first games, he said himself, the team wasn't fit enough. So I've no idea what Cisco was doing before. But we were getting to kind of 60 minutes, and you could see that, physically and mentally they were tired, and kind of trying to do what he's wanting to do, but they can't. And then it only takes one or 2 goals, and that's it. The game's gone. Plymouth springs to mind. We conceded 2 goals really quick just before half time, and that game's gone. And you're not going to come back from that, especially when we struggle to score goals. But he's persisted at it. He's kept going. Every game we've been getting better as well. And I think when you're down at the bottom, and like I said, the bar was set so low that anything was an improvement. But that's doing a bit of disservice, really, because I think he's been fantastic, and the way that he comes across after every game, he comes around and makes a point of applauding all the fans. There was a game against Leicester that we drew, got a last minute equaliser, and he's walking around and having photos taken with the fans and shaking their hands. Look, that doesn't win you any points. I get that, but what he does do is it garners that relationship with the fans, and it also just buys you a bit of time when things perhaps don't go right. Fans will kind of understand a little bit more. We're fickle as fans, aren't we? You know, things like that can help massively. But no, he's been great. I mean, he's come from he hasn't had a managerial job before. He's a young coach. He's the youngest manager in the EFL at the moment. Initially, people were like, "Who's he?" I don't, because you've never heard of him. But then when things started coming out of what he's done and where he's been at, I mean, his last job, it was the assistant coach to Hansi Flick in the German national side. It was at Bayern Munich as well. Again, with Hansi Flick, he followed him to Germany national team. It was at Southampton. It was also at RB Leipzig. So he's been at some top clubs. He's not just come from non-league or anything like that. He has been right at the top, and he's brought some fantastic people with him in terms of coaching staff. Well, I said bring him with him. He's just appointed him because he's not really had a team to bring. But Chris Powell being one of the standout ones that has brought in as he's not even his assistant manager, just assistant coach. He could be a manager in his own right, to be fair, Chris Powell, but he's come to Sheffield Wednesday, and it's very weird what's happening at the moment. There's a lot of things that's happening that seem very out of character for the chairman and things like that. But look, let's take it. The results are getting better. January window's just around the corner. Let's see. You never know. The landscape could be a lot different by the time we get there.
Yeah, you mentioned the upturn at a form there. 2 wins in the last 3, a draw against Leicester as well. You sort of say about performance levels, have they sort of mirrored the results you've been getting, or has it maybe been more of a sort of late winners that we've been seeing in recent games, or late equalisers that have kind of been just maybe that little bit of luck you need at the end of a game?
Yeah, we've scored 3 goals in injury time. Well, we've scored goals in injury time in our last 3 games. Leicester, look, they're the league leaders for a reason. They are a class above everyone else. And it was one of those where I think Danny Rail's done his homework. And look, when you're at the bottom of the league as well, I think in a weird way it does help, because teams are going to come and just going to expect to get all 3 points and think it's going to be easy. And if you can frustrate teams, then you can suddenly perhaps pick up some points. And I think that's exactly what we did. We switched off for their goal, a bit disappointing really in the way that it came, but they didn't really create any chances. We most of their chances from outside the box, that's a result to long range shots to get anything off. I mean, when you look at the XG, we actually had a better XG than what they did, which is crazy when we had about 25% of the ball. But they don't like it when they've got the ball. They find it very difficult to break teams down. I know it sounds mad when they're at the top of the league, but that's kind of what I've heard. And you saw that really. We just dug in and we just stayed in the game. Kept it at 1-0, defended very resolutely, and got our just rewards at the end. To be honest, I know it sounds mad, but I would have taken a 1-0 defeat at that point. If you can hold the league leaders to only scoring 1 goal against you when you're at the bottom of the league, you could probably take the positives out of that. But to score late on in the way that we did, it almost felt like a win in that game. And then we go to Blackburn Rovers, again, another side that don't really like it when they've got the ball, find it, they want to play on the counter attack, but we just said, go on then. You have the ball, you do what you need to do with it. And that high press really works well for us, nicking the ball off the defense. That intensity that we've got, I mean, we scored really early on, 5 minutes in, is always going to help. And Blackburn don't like it when they've got to come on to teams and come from behind. And yeah, they pegged it back to 1-1, but we kicked on, got the second goal, and then Josh Windass scored a very, very late goal to wrap it up when it looked like we were perhaps going to concede. And then look, the Stoke game at the weekend, you had a boring game against Preston. We had an equally as boring game. Nothing happened in the first half. You watch the highlights, there was a header And I think they've showed the replay 4 times just to kind of pad out the highlights to show that something actually happened. But again, I would have took a 0-0 draw. All things considering, away from home. Stoke, we'd not won there since 2007, so it would have been it would have been a tall ask. But to score in the 91st minute, Anthony Masaba breaks through another one-on-one chance, just like Windass in the game before. And it, like I said, we like scoring late goals, and to get that late winner, it's always us on the receiving end of those. It's very, we never normally score late winners, so it's just refreshing to do that, and sack managers in the process. Obviously, the Stoke manager getting sacked just after that. So yeah, it's in answer to your original question, the performances have been good. The one against Stoke, I won't say it was a poor performance. Just both sides lacked a bit of quality. But yeah, I wouldn't have said we deserved 7 points, but we certainly, we're certainly more than warranted. At least some of them anyway.
Yeah, one theme throughout the Sheffield Wednesday squad, lots of experienced players who have played at sort of championship level previously, the likes of Barry Bannon, a bit of a legend at Hillsborough, a player I certainly have sort of a lot of admiration for, a real talent who probably could have left, at any point and gone and played for a team higher up the pecking order, but decided to stay loyal, and it's kind of reaping the rewards of that, I suppose, back in the championship. Who's maybe been the key man so far this season? I sort of see your summer business, and seems like sort of some of them maybe now starting to show some sort of signs on the pitch of the players that you brought in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to pick out, players to watch when you are, we're not bottom anymore. Rotherham have took that mantle now, but when you've only won 3 games all season, it is difficult to do that. Barry Bannon, as you've mentioned, yeah, he's got the key to kind of unlock defenses. He can pick out a pass that nobody else can see. He's, when you look at the key pass metric, he's always at the top. He's always, even when you think he's having a bad game, he's not. When you look at the numbers, I think it's because he has set the bar so high. You're expecting so much of him every single game, which is a bit unfair, really. Sometimes, people have been saying that his performances of late haven't been fantastic, which, yeah, I agree. But again, is that because we expect him to do something in every single game, and you perhaps might not think that of other players? Someone who's really coming to his own in recent weeks is Will Vaulks. We signed him at the start of last season, and he's found it tough this season, to be honest. He gave a penalty away against his old club Cardiff right at the end when he really shouldn't have, and he's been, the performances haven't been there. But since Danny Rail's come in, he's put him in that kind of holding midfield role, and he's just like a combating midfielder. Gets stuck in tackles, he breaks up play, almost like that last line of defense before the defensive, so to speak. And yeah, when you look at tackles, interceptions, clearances, he's always well up there in those metrics. And yeah, he's been pretty much a standout player. And you could argue the first name on the team sheet of, from his recent performances. One player I suppose you do want to watch out for, Bailey Cadamartri. You won't probably know much about him. He's come from our youth team. You might know his dad, Danny Cadamartri, of course, former professional footballer. He's very raw. He started the last 3 games. He has got a goal. He got the goal against Blackburn. He's come off the bench a few times before that as well. Danny Rail seems to like him, and he's got bags of energy. It'd be interesting to see whether he starts on Wednesday or not. Obviously with 3 games in quick succession, but he'll just keep running. And I think the reason why Danny Rail likes him is because we like to defend from the front. He likes to press and likes to put the goalkeeper under pressure, put the defense under pressure as well. And he does that to a T. Like I said, he scored against Blackburn. Fingers crossed he can kick on. But yeah, he's probably one to watch out for that you perhaps don't know.
I think a few Norwich fans will have eyes on Akinfenwa, of course, an ex-academy product of Norwich City. Just one appearance in a Canary shirt. That was away at Manchester City on the final day of the Premier League a few years ago. Just a substitute appearance. Probably not a player that many fans have sort of got many memories of, maybe even forgotten he existed. But how's he been getting on at Hillsborough so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, last season he started, I think he came in the second game of the season, and then he got injured. I mean, he went down injured, and he was like crawling to get himself back on side. So he wasn't playing everyone on side. And then that kind of fans loved him for that. Like the passion that he showed and the tenacity and everything like that. It's been a bit hit or miss with Akin. I think partly not down to his fault. Obviously he's a natural left footer, so I think his natural role is probably left centre half, or the left of a back, of a back five in the centre back role. But he's been stuck out at left back for quite a bit, and his build, he's quite big. He's not, to say he's not athletic, he's probably doing a bit of disservice, but he's not really a left back. But Danny Röhl and previous managers seem to keep putting him out there, so he's obviously doing something and to get ahead of others that we've got that can play that position. I mean, left back is a bit of a niche role, in it. You can't get many decent left backs out there. But yeah, I think he's done all right. The performances could be a bit better, but like, again, it's not really his natural position. He does get caught out a little bit. When we played Blackburn in the last 10 minutes of the first half, they must have had 2 or 3 chances that have all come down that side, and we actually switched to a back five, and gave him a bit of cover to try and help that. It's probably our weakest position is left back. It's been a problem for many years, but no, you can't fault his work ethic. And we, after a few games that he played for us, we even brought out a song for him, which he commented on, and he said that he's never had that in his career. So yeah, I think the fans have took to him, and he's took to us as well.
Yeah, before we turn the attention sort of forward to the game, where's the expectation now for the rest of the season, I suppose, for Sheffield Wednesday? You kind of got the upward momentum now, and maybe you can sort of start to see those teams a little bit in sort of the mirror a little bit that were so far away from you at one point. Is survival, a realistic aim, I suppose, for the rest of the season, or maybe have you left that sort of bridge too far to gap?
Survival. I mean, we're unbeaten in 3. It's playoffs, in it. Let's play on playoff form now. We're going to shoot for the stars. No, in all seriousness, the championship is mad. Like, it's crazy. We were talking earlier, 9 points separates 6th and 21st, which is absolutely crazy. There's 3 teams on 21 points, which are 8 points ahead of us now. Look, if you'd have started the season with an 8-point deficit, I think you'd have probably just written us off. But it's a bit it's different at the moment. The way that we're playing, we're not playing like a side that's sat in 23rd position in the league. Like, we're playing a lot better than that. The people that look at all the metrics and do all the analyst stuff, they're saying that we're playing like at least a mid-table side. And the fact that there's that many teams that are struggling this season as well. I mean, you look at Millwall, they've got Leicester in midweek, and then they've got 3 teams that are around us all in the next 3 games. So there's that many that are in contention that could easily get dragged into it. It only takes a couple of wins, and all of a sudden you're out there. Look, I'm under no illusion. We've only won his last 2. That's only our 3rd win this season. We're not going to turn into prime Barcelona overnight, but I think the expectations now are that survival will come fairly easily if we carry on in the way that we've been playing. The main thing is the confidence. We didn't have any confidence before. You could see that. We'd scored 7 goals all season after 17 games or something ridiculous, and the confidence just wasn't there. Whereas now we are starting to score a few more goals. We're finding the back of the net. The confidence is building, and you know yourself how important that confidence is. So yeah, let's see what happens. January is going to be very, very interesting. The chairman came out and said, "I'm not putting any extra money into the club," and the club's losing £2 million every month, by the way, which is another thing. He then proceeded to sack the manager, bring Danny Röhl in, bring all the backroom staff, which are clearly on a lot more money than what Cisco Munoz was. And then there's rumours that we're signing a striker that's on 30 grand a week. So I've no idea what's happening. I don't know what the chairman's talking about, but we'll find out come the end of January whether any of that's true or not.
Yeah, moving the attention now forward. Just intrigued to sort of get your thoughts on Norwich and the season that's gone on so far. Currently sort of mid-table, but only 3 points outside the playoffs, sort of based on the mad league we've spoken about on your podcast and also on here. And it feels like a big opportunity for us, I suppose, tomorrow night, Wednesday night now, moving into a big game for us on Saturday. But just sort of based off the season so far, have you seen much of Norwich, and what have you made of it, I suppose, what's happened at Carrow Road?
I've not seen much of it, but I think like most football fans, just surprised to see you not kind of yo-yoing between the Premier League and Championship. To see you still down here, I think most fans just expect you to get relegated from the Premier League and get promoted from the Championship. That's kind of par for the course, really. I suppose last season would have been a massive coupon buster for those that predict the outrights for all the leagues. But most would have probably just penciled in Norwich to go straight back up, as you do pretty much every single year. Yeah, I was saying earlier, I was surprised to see you down in 17th, only a few weeks back. But I think, yeah, such is the nature of this league. I think it's not really if you're in 17th or 15th or wherever you are, it's not really a true reflection because the league is that tight. You string 2 wins together, like you said, you're 3 points off the playoffs. Come the end of Saturday, you could be in those playoff positions, which is crazy. And then when you look at that and you look at where you are, you'll just think that you're having a great season. Similarly, you could lose the next 2 games and you could be back down in that 17th, 18th position thinking, well, the season's been awful. In reality, it's just been 2 results that have changed that. So, I'm surprised. I thought that you'd be further up. I tipped you to be one of the teams in the top 6, but as we've mentioned, injuries can really cost you, and I think that's hurt you a little bit, this season, especially with Sargent that's been out for quite some time.
Yeah, now turning the dial to Wednesday's game. Of course, you mentioned on your podcast, Carrow's not really been a very happy hunting ground, particularly for the Owls. The last win there, 2009, and Norwich have won, I think, 3 of the last 4, 1 draw as well. The last defeat was at Hillsborough, that pretty grim 5-1 defeat, which for anyone there was probably trying to erase from their memory pretty quickly and probably wished I hadn't have mentioned again. But how are you feeling heading down to Carrow on Wednesday? Is the sort of mood buoyed, I suppose, by the recent form, or maybe fearing the worst, being it's not a place that's particularly been I suppose a place you picked up 3 points very often?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be more confident than what we were a couple of weeks ago, just by the fact that we've won his last 2 games. Again, I'm under no illusion that we're not going to go to Norwich and go there and steamroll you or anything like that. But I do think we do have a chance. We like to press high up the pitch. It's almost like we like to press, and then once you break that press, we'll kind of retreat a little bit and let you pass it around the back 4. And then once you get into our half, we'll start that press again. It's very deliberate what we try and do. We try and force a mistake on you and try and get you guessing. So I'm sure we'll do that again. Again, like I said, we're in a weird position where it's kind of the onus is on the opposition to try and beat us. Where if the game's 0-0, the longer it's 0-0, I'm sure the Norwich faithful will be. I don't know what the atmosphere is like at Carrow Road, but if it's anything like at Hillsborough when things aren't going right, it can probably turn. And I feel like that could again work in our favour. The longer that the game is 0-0, or even if we go a goal down, if we can stay in the game, it can we could really benefit from that. And I think that's kind of what's going to happen on Wednesday. I get a few pelters for this sometimes because I always sometimes say I'll take a draw, and people are like, why are you taking a draw? You need to go for the win. We need the points. But I think this is one of those games where if you said to me, we can go into the next game, which is QPR, which is a massive 6-pointer on Saturday, having, extended that unbeaten run to 4, and you can just take a point into the next one, I would take that, 100%. Having that, that being said, I still think we do have a chance that we can, we showed in the last game against Stoke that we can nick it. I think I spoke about fitness levels. The fitness levels have improved massively, especially in that international break. It was almost like a mini pre-season for the team, and we're starting to see that. And I think there's still the best to come from Sheffield Wednesday. We're not firing. Our leading goal scorer is Michael Smith with 3 goals, and Anthony Masaba, who scored at the weekend. He's the only other player that scored more than 1 this season. So we are struggling in front of goal. If that can start clicking, then you never know. Yeah,
you mentioned the sort of the lack of goal scoring, and you're taking a draw. So with that, gonna press you for a score prediction for Wednesday night's game.
5-0 Wednesday. No, in all seriousness, 1-1. I think it's going to finish on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think given the mood and the optimism around Carrow Road at the moment, I wouldn't be surprised if that is the score on Wednesday night. And just finally to round off, James, do you want to plug where those Norwich fans and Sheffield Wednesday fans can go and find your guys' content?
Yeah, of course. So it's the Wednesday Till I Die podcast on all the major podcasting platforms. We're also now on YouTube as well. So just, again, search for the Wednesday Till I Die podcast or at WTRD pod across all the socials. We record on Sunday nights. We also do a live Twitter Spaces as well, which Norwich fans are more than welcome to join. That'll, depending on the results, either going to be after the game on Wednesday if we win. If we don't win, it'll probably be on Thursday night. So yeah, you can more than welcome to listen in and even get involved as well. Always good to get the thoughts of opposition fans.
There we go. We'll link all of that down below. And James, really do appreciate your time this lunchtime, giving all the thoughts there ahead of Wednesday's game. With that, we're going to round off the show. Looking forward to, of course, a really big week for the Canaries. It feels like 3 points is a must on Wednesday night, moving into what's going to be a little bit of a dreaded, I suppose, thought of heading down to Portman Road on Saturday. Fingers crossed we can, of course, continue that run, I suppose, against Sheffield Wednesday, but more pertinently, Ipswich Town. With that, we're going to sign off, and we'll see you in the next one.